For thousands of years, the Galactic Council believed it controlled the stars. Hundreds of alien civilizations obeyed its laws. Powerful fleets protected its borders, and no species had ever dared to openly challenge its authority. Across the galaxy, the Council was feared. But there was one small planet most alien leaders barely noticed. Earth. Humans were considered a young species. Their technology was new compared to the ancient empires of the galaxy. Many aliens believed humans were still learning how to survive in space. Because of that, Earth was never taken seriously. Until the day everything changed. It began when a massive fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. At first, human astronomers thought their sensors were broken. Thousands of unknown ships were entering the system, and they were larger than anything humanity had ever seen. Within minutes, every satellite, space station, and military base on Earth was alerted. The ships were not hiding. They moved slowly and confidently, as if they had nothing to fear. Soon, a signal was broadcast across every communication network on Earth. The message was powerful and impossible to ignore. Every screen on the planet turned black for a moment before strange alien symbols appeared. Then the symbols translated into human languages. People everywhere stopped what they were doing. Cities fell silent. The message came from the Galactic Council. We are the rulers of this galaxy. Your species has entered our territory without permission. You will surrender your planet and accept Council rule immediately. Refusal will result in the destruction of your world. The message ended. No explanation. No negotiation. Just a threat. Across the galaxy, many alien civilizations watched the broadcast. The Council had done this many times before. When new species were discovered, they usually surrendered quickly. It was the safest choice. Most alien observers expected the same result. Earth would surrender. But something strange happened. Humanity did not answer. Minutes passed. Then hours. Then an entire day. The Council fleet moved closer to Earth, positioning thousands of ships around the outer planets. Their weapons powered up, lighting the darkness of space with cold blue energy. Still, Earth said nothing. Inside the alien flagship, the fleet commander watched the silent planet with amusement. He had seen this before. Many young species became quiet when they realized they could not win. Fear always came first. Surrender came soon after. But by the third day, even the alien commanders began to feel confused. Human satellites continued to move. Space stations remained active. Signals traveled between planets inside the solar system. Humans were clearly preparing something. Yet no surrender message arrived. Finally, on the fourth day, Earth sent its first response. Across the entire galaxy, millions of observers watched as the human signal appeared on every Council communication channel. The alien commanders expected desperate negotiations. Instead, the message was short. Only 5 words. Threat received. Preparing response. For a moment, the alien bridge was silent. Then several officers laughed. Preparing a response. The commander leaned back in his chair, clearly entertained. Did these humans truly believe they could fight the Galactic Council? His fleet alone had enough firepower to destroy Earth 10 times over. The commander decided it was time to end the situation. He raised one clawed hand and gave a simple order. Move the fleet closer. Charge primary weapons. Thousands of alien ships began moving toward the inner solar system. Energy cannons glowed brighter. Planet-killer weapons slowly powered up. The Council intended to make an example of Earth. But as the fleet advanced, something unexpected appeared on their sensors. At first, the alien scanners detected small energy signals near the asteroid belt. Then more signals appeared near the moons of Jupiter. Then hundreds more around Saturn. The alien officers frowned as they studied their screens. These were not natural objects. They were ships. Human ships. Hidden ships. Suddenly, thousands of energy signatures began appearing across the solar system. Asteroids opened to reveal hidden hangars. Silent stations activated weapons. Massive warships powered on after years of hiding in deep space. The alien commander slowly stood up from his chair. His amusement disappeared. Because the scanners were still counting. 10,000 ships. 20,000. 50,000. And the numbers were still rising. Across the entire solar system, humanity's hidden fleet was waking up. For the first time since entering the system, the Galactic Council fleet stopped moving. The alien commander stared at the growing list of human warships. Then he whispered something none of his officers had ever heard before. "What have we just started?" The alien fleet remained frozen in space. Just moments earlier, the commanders of the Galactic Council had been confident. They believed the conquest of Earth would be quick and simple. One demonstration of power, one destroyed city, and the humans would surrender. But the scanners on the alien flagship were now showing something no one expected. Human warships. Thousands of them. And more were still appearing. Deep inside the asteroid belt, giant rocks slowly split open like metal doors. From inside them, long hidden ships began to move into space. These ships were not small patrol vessels. They were massive warships, built for battle. Around Jupiter's moons, silent stations that had once looked like mining facilities suddenly activated heavy weapons. Giant cannons unfolded from their surfaces and locked onto the alien fleet. Near Saturn, several dark shapes emerged from the planet's rings. At first, they looked like simple pieces of ice and rock. But as the alien scanners focused closer, they realized those shapes were actually enormous human carriers. Each carrier began releasing hundreds of smaller fighter ships. Inside the alien flagship, officers stared at their screens in disbelief. The commander slowly walked closer to the main scanner display. "How long?" he asked quietly. One of the alien analysts swallowed nervously. "These ships were not built recently," the officer said. "Some of them appear to be decades old." Decades. That single word spread across the bridge like cold air. It meant only one thing. Humans had been preparing for war for a very long time. Far longer than anyone in the galaxy had imagined. Back on Earth, the planet that the Council believed was weak was now fully awake. Across the globe, military bases opened secret hangars. Massive rockets launched from hidden launch sites and joined the growing defense fleets in orbit. But the most shocking discovery came when the alien scanners focused on Earth's moon. For centuries, the moon had looked quiet. Peaceful. Just a lifeless rock orbiting the planet. But suddenly, the surface of the moon began to move. Large sections of the lunar ground slowly opened, revealing enormous structures hidden beneath the surface. Gigantic defense cannons rose toward space. Shield generators powered on. Missile silos unlocked. The moon itself had become a fortress. Inside the alien flagship, silence filled the command bridge. No one laughed anymore. The fleet commander studied the tactical map as more and more human ships appeared across the solar system. 10,000. 20,000. 50,000. And still counting. The Council fleet had expected to face a frightened young civilization. Instead, they were staring at a fully prepared war machine. "Impossible," one alien officer whispered. The commander did not answer. Because another report had just appeared. Human ships were not only appearing inside the solar system. Long-range scanners had detected warp signatures. New fleets were arriving. From deep space. Hidden bases far beyond Pluto had just activated their warp gates. Entire groups of human warships were now jumping back into the system. Within minutes, the number of human vessels had doubled. Then tripled. On the alien tactical display, the red icons representing the Council fleet were slowly becoming surrounded by thousands of blue icons. Human ships. Watching. Waiting. But something about the human fleet was strange. They were not attacking. Not yet. Instead, the ships were simply moving into position, forming massive defensive lines across the solar system. It was as if humanity had been expecting this exact moment. The alien commander felt something he had not felt in centuries. Uncertainty. He had fought many wars across the galaxy. He had crushed rebellions and destroyed entire civilizations. But he had never faced an enemy that had prepared so carefully. And he had never seen a species hide its true strength so well. The commander looked at the tactical map one more time. The human fleet now filled half the system. But one thing was still clear. Despite their numbers, the Galactic Council fleet was still stronger. Their ships were larger. Their weapons were more advanced. Their technology had been developed over thousands of years. If a battle began, the Council still believed they would win. Slowly, the commander raised his hand. His voice returned to its usual cold confidence. All ships, he ordered, prepare for combat. Across the alien fleet, thousands of weapons began charging. Energy cannons glowed brighter. Planet killer missiles unlocked. The alien armada slowly began moving toward Earth. But this time, they were no longer smiling. Because somewhere in the dark silence of space, the human fleet was waiting. And humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. Now the galaxy was about to discover why. The moment finally came. For days, both fleets had watched each other across the solar system. Thousands of alien warships faced a growing wall of human vessels. The silence between them felt heavy, like the calm before a massive storm. Across the galaxy, millions of alien civilizations were watching the situation through long-range broadcasts. News networks from distant star systems showed the same image again and again. Earth. A small blue planet standing against the power of the Galactic Council. Most viewers expected the same ending that had happened many times before. The Council would attack. The young civilization would collapse. But what happened next shocked everyone. Inside the alien flagship, the fleet commander stared at the tactical screen one last time. The human ships were everywhere now. Around Mars, around Jupiter, near the asteroid belt, and in deep orbit around Earth. Still, the commander believed victory was certain. The Council fleet had superior weapons and centuries of battle experience. He lifted his hand and gave the order that would begin the war. Fire. In an instant, space exploded with light. Thousands of alien warships launched their first attack. Massive energy beams shot forward like bright blue rivers, crossing the darkness of space at incredible speed. The beams were aimed directly at Earth. The Council wanted the galaxy to watch their power. If the human homeworld burned, the rest of the fleet would surrender. But the beams never reached the planet. Just seconds before impact, something incredible happened. A giant shield suddenly formed around Earth. A glowing barrier spread across the entire planet like a protective shell. The alien weapons slammed into the shield, creating massive waves of energy across its surface. But the shield held. The alien commander stared in disbelief. Planetary shields that strong were extremely rare. Even ancient alien empires struggled to build defenses on that scale. Yet the humans had done it. And that was only the beginning. The moment the alien attack failed, the human fleet moved. Across the solar system, thousands of human warships suddenly accelerated. Engines burned bright as they rushed toward the alien armada. Human railguns fired first. These weapons did not use energy like alien cannons. Instead, they launched solid metal projectiles at incredible speed. The first wave of shots tore through space like invisible lightning. Several alien ships exploded instantly. Their shields were not designed to stop such heavy kinetic force. Before the alien commanders could react, the second human attack arrived. Missiles. Hundreds of thousands of them. The missiles moved like a massive swarm across space, constantly changing direction as they hunted their targets. Alien defense systems fired desperately, destroying many of them. But too many missiles were coming. Explosions spread across the battlefield as several Council ships were destroyed. Across the galaxy, shocked viewers watched the battle unfold. Humans were not simply surviving. They were fighting back. Inside the alien flagship, alarms filled the bridge. Multiple ships destroyed. Missile swarms approaching. Enemy fighters incoming. The commander gripped the edge of his command chair. "Launch interceptors," he ordered. Thousands of alien fighters rushed forward to meet the human attack. But then another surprise appeared. Human drone swarms. Small, fast machines poured out of the larger human carriers. They moved like clouds of metal insects, surrounding alien ships from every direction. Some drones exploded against enemy shields. Others attached themselves to the hulls of alien vessels and began cutting through armor. Within minutes, several more Council ships were destroyed. The alien fleet had expected an easy victory. Instead, they were facing a completely different kind of war. Human tactics were aggressive and unpredictable. They attacked from every direction. They used weapons the aliens had never seen before. And most importantly, they were not afraid. As the battle grew larger, more human fleets arrived from deep space warp gates. The number of ships in the fight doubled. Then tripled. The alien commander watched the battlefield slowly change. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council fleet was being pushed backward. And across the galaxy, a terrifying realization began to spread. Humanity was not a weak species. Humanity had been preparing for war for a very long time. And now the entire galaxy was seeing the result. The first battle near Earth was supposed to be a quick victory for the Galactic Council. Instead, it became the beginning of a nightmare. When the alien fleet finally retreated from the inner solar system, the entire galaxy was stunned. No young civilization had ever pushed back a Council fleet before. For centuries, the Council had ruled through fear and overwhelming power. But now something had changed. Humanity had survived. Not only survived, they had fought back. Across the galaxy, alien leaders began emergency meetings. Some believed the first battle was simply bad luck for the Council. Others believed humans had only used a small part of their hidden strength. But one thing was clear. This war was far from over. The Galactic Council refused to accept defeat. Within weeks, massive fleets from other Council worlds began traveling toward human space. These reinforcements were far larger than the first invasion fleet. Entire armadas filled with battleships, carriers, and planetary destroyers were now heading toward the Sol system. Their goal was simple. Crush humanity completely. When the second wave of Council fleets arrived months later, they did not rush into battle like before. This time the alien commanders moved carefully. They spread their ships across several star systems near Earth. Their plan was to slowly surround human space and cut off every supply route. They believed time would weaken humanity. But they misunderstood one important thing. Humans did not fight wars the way most alien species did. Human commanders studied their enemies carefully. They looked for weaknesses. They watched how alien fleets moved and how their commanders made decisions. Then they created traps. The first trap was discovered near a mining colony in the outer system. An alien fleet moved toward the colony, believing it was lightly defended. The scanners showed only a few human patrol ships protecting the area. The alien commander saw an easy victory. He ordered the attack. But the moment his ships entered the area, something unexpected happened. Space around them suddenly exploded with energy. Hidden mines activated. Dozens of human stealth ships appeared from behind nearby asteroids. Railguns fired at close range. Within minutes, several alien cruisers were destroyed. The remaining ships barely escaped. That was only the beginning. Across multiple star systems, Council fleets began encountering similar traps. Human forces attacked supply ships, destroyed fuel depots, and disappeared before large alien reinforcements could arrive. Human stealth technology allowed entire fleets to hide in empty space for days. Alien commanders began losing ships without ever seeing their enemy. Months passed, and the war slowly spread farther into the galaxy. Human fleets did not stay near Earth. They moved outward. Fast. Using new warp technology, human task forces appeared suddenly near important Council trade routes. They destroyed military stations and vanished before defenders could arrive. Some alien colonies woke up one morning to find human warships already in orbit. The message was always the same. This war was not started by us. Across the galaxy, fear slowly began spreading. For centuries, the Council had been the strongest power in existence. No one had ever challenged them directly. But humanity was doing more than challenging them. They were winning battles. Alien news networks started using a new word to describe humans. Deathworlders. Earth was classified as a death world long ago because of its dangerous environment. The planet had storms, predators, earthquakes, and diseases that would kill most alien species. Now the galaxy was realizing something terrifying. A species that survived such a planet would naturally become strong. Resilient. Dangerous. Human soldiers fought longer. Human commanders adapted faster. Human engineers constantly improved their weapons during the war. The longer the conflict continued, the stronger humanity became. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was slowly losing ships. Losing resources. Losing control. Inside the Council capital, the leaders who had once threatened Earth now faced a difficult truth. This war was no longer about conquering a small planet. It had become a fight for survival. And somewhere in deep space, massive human fleets were already moving closer to the heart of the Council's territory. The war that had started near Earth was now spreading across the galaxy. And the nightmare was only getting worse. 2 years after the first threat was sent to Earth, the war had changed the entire galaxy. What began as a simple attempt to control a young civilization had grown into the largest conflict the stars had ever seen. Entire regions of space had become battle zones. Trade routes were destroyed, military stations had fallen, and many alien empires were now afraid to travel through their own territory. And at the center of it all was one species. Humans. At the start of the war, the Galactic Council believed humanity would collapse quickly. Their fleets were older, their technology more advanced, and their power had ruled the galaxy for centuries. But war had a strange effect on humanity. The more pressure they faced, the stronger they became. Human engineers built new weapons faster than the Council could understand them. New warships left hidden shipyards every month. Human commanders studied every battle and adapted their tactics constantly. Slowly but surely, the balance of power changed. Council fleets that once dominated the stars were now retreating. Entire alien armadas had disappeared during deep space battles. Human stealth ships hunted supply lines, cutting off fuel and resources. Military stations that once guarded important star systems were now silent ruins. The Council was losing control. But the greatest shock came when human fleets began moving toward the very center of the Council's territory. The Council capital system. This star system was the political heart of the galaxy. For thousands of years, no enemy fleet had ever reached it. Massive defensive stations surrounded the system, and powerful fleets guarded every approach. It was considered impossible to attack. Yet one day, long-range scanners detected something alarming. Warp signatures. Thousands of them. Across the capital system, alarms began ringing. Military officers rushed to their stations. Defense platforms powered on, and remaining Council fleets quickly moved into defensive formations. Then the human ships arrived. From the darkness of warp space, massive fleets appeared. Human battleships. Human carriers. Endless formations of smaller fighters and drones. The number of ships was overwhelming. Within minutes, the capital system was completely surrounded. Across the galaxy, millions of alien citizens watched the broadcast in silence. No one had ever seen anything like this before. The once powerful Galactic Council was now the one being surrounded. Inside the Council's main command station, the leaders who had once threatened Earth stared at the tactical display in shock. Human fleets filled the entire system. And they were still arriving. But something strange happened. The human ships did not fire. No missiles launched. No railguns fired. They simply held their positions, waiting. Minutes passed. Then a signal appeared across every communication channel in the capital system. A message from humanity. The alien leaders opened it slowly, unsure of what they would see. The message contained only a few simple words. But those words felt painfully familiar. Surrender your government and accept new terms of peace. Refusal will result in the destruction of your system. The Council leaders froze. Because they recognized the message immediately. It was almost identical to the threat they had sent to Earth 2 years earlier. Now the same choice had returned. But this time, humanity held the power. Outside the command station windows, thousands of human warships waited silently in orbit around the system. The Council no longer had enough fleets to fight them. Their defenses were damaged. Their allies had already withdrawn from the war. For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Council faced something it had never expected. Defeat. After several hours of silent discussion, the alien leaders finally made their decision. A surrender signal was transmitted. Across the galaxy, news channels repeated the moment again and again. The Galactic Council had officially ended the war. Humanity had won. But the final message sent by the human fleet was simple. We did not seek this war. But we will always defend our world. From that day forward, every civilization in the galaxy remembered the same lesson. Humans were peaceful. Humans were patient. But if someone threatened Earth, the entire galaxy would tremble.